Last season, we took over at Chelsea to try and lead the club back to the top table of European football. And after tasting Carabao Cup victory, lifting our first piece of silverware and finishing third in the Premier League table, Champions League football is returning to Stamford Bridge this season. And as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into a brand new season. Now, to be fair, we start off this new year with our starting 11 in actually pretty decent shape. Every single player is rated at least in the 80s, with the likes of Christopher Nkunku absolutely leading the way, not only being our top goalscorer last season, but also being our highest rated player at 88. However, with some bold decisions to be made about the futures of some of the players at the club, plus a whole host of young players returning from loan last season, we've got a lot of work to do at the start of the summer transfer window. Fortunately enough though, with the return to European football, we've been given a European-sized budget, with the board granting us £143 million to spend. Before we do that though, with me sticking a whole host of players on both the loan and the transfer list, we've got a whole lot of work to do to try and shift some of the deadwood from this club, including some big names such as Hakim Ziyech, the now 31-year-old Belgian Romelu Lukaku, and perhaps to the surprise of many, the 84 rated Raheem Sterling. Now the thing with Sterling is, despite him having some fantastic attributes to his name, last season he just couldn't quite find his rhythm and find his form, and with him being 29 years of age and his market value still being £35 million, I'm pretty confident I will be able to get a decent amount of money for the experienced Englishman. Before we get any offers for him though, the first man out the door this summer will be the other experienced Spaniard this time though. It's a man who spent last season on loan at Real Madrid, and having returned to Chelsea, he is leaving the front door of Chelsea just as quick, as Kepa departs to Galatasaray for £20 million. And Lukaku will be the next man to follow him out the door, as having failed to establish himself as a regular and a fan favourite at Chelsea, he will depart for the final time in his Chelsea career as Tottenham Hotspur buy him for £42.7 million. And Hakim Ziyech becomes the third big name to depart the bright lights of Chelsea, as he leaves to Manchester United for £15 million. And in other transfer news, with another Chelsea striker failing to make the grade on the west side of London, Armando Broja departs to Borussia Mönchengladbach for £17.8 million. At 22 years of age, Tino Anjurin has just not been able to crack into the Chelsea starting 11, and so he departs on quite a small fee relative to the others. 2.4 million sees him depart to West Brom. And finally, third choice goalkeeper Jordi Petrovic also departs for £6.9 million to our London rivals, West Ham United. Finally though, one man's time at Chelsea Football Club has sadly come to an end. Raheem Sterling promised so much when he joined the West London club, but last season just didn't really cut the mustard and didn't really meet the lofty expectations I would have had for the experienced Englishman. And with his former club Manchester City coming in with a £51.8 million bid for the 29-year-old, it was an offer that was just too good to turn down, as we say goodbye to Raheem Sterling. Now, not only have those departures helped clear the decks at the football club, but they've also boosted our transfer budget to a whopping £316 million. And with areas of the team to improve, it is time to get down to business. Now, with Raheem Sterling departing the club, all signs would point to the 22-year-old Englishman Cole Palmer to be his natural replacement on the right-hand side. However, despite him absolutely smashing up the Premier League in real life on this career mode, he's still only rated 69, and so with that in mind, I have decided to allow him to go back out on loan for another year, this time to Mallorca in Spain. And with him gone, it leaves only Noddy Madueke as being the only natural right winger who is remaining at the club. And so, with the pressure being on us this season to not only meet but exceed the performances that we reached at the back end of last season, I felt it was even more important to bring someone in who could immediately hit the ground running. And that is why I have turned to a man who offers us Premier League experience, having absolutely lit up English football at Aston Villa last season. His addition will add to the ever-growing French contingent at the club, as Moussa Diaby joins Chelsea Football Club from Aston Villa for £93.3 million. He's a natural left footer who will fit perfectly on the right hand side. He has absolutely fantastic physical, mental and technical stats, and at 86 rated, he will fit straight into my starting 11 and immediately improve us. Now, speaking of improvement, the only other areas of my team that perhaps didn't get a lot of love last season was at the back of my defence, with the likes of 81 rated Badiashile and 82 rated Wesley Fofana being my best defenders at the club. Now, with the 39-year-old Thiago Silva departing the club, having retired at the end of last season, you can see from all of the centre-backs that I have remaining, none of them offer us the same level of coolness, calmness, composure and experience at the back that we so desperately need heading into a season of Champions League football. And so with that in mind, once again, we are looking to go big at the back. And that means rekindling an old flame that used to burn bright at Chelsea Football Club only a few years ago. A man who was desperate to prove himself at the top stage of European football. So much so that he was willing to leave his family and his love of Chelsea Football Club behind and go off to AC Milan to carve out a career abroad. But now it is time for the prodigal son to return, as Fikayo Tomori does return to Chelsea Football Club for £79 million. This man has all the attributes to be a perfect centre-back for Chelsea. He's got wonderful pace and mental attributes, plus at 26 years of age he's entering his prime at an 86 rated. Just like Moussa Diaby, he will come in and immediately improve my starting 11. Now despite those two transfers taking a fairly sizable chunk out of my transfer budget, fortunately enough I am still left with £139 million to spend. But with my team in pretty decent shape heading into the start of the new season, I actually think I'm going to hold fire on making any more signings and wait to see how the first half of the season progresses and whether or not I'm going to need to bring anyone else in the start of the January transfer window. But there can be no doubt that the pressure is going to be on my shoulders immediately, as the board not only want me to win the Premier League this season, win the FA Cup, but they also want me to complete a famous treble in London, as they want me to reach the final and perhaps go one step further and win the Champions League. Before we do that though, we've got the small matter of our first game back at the start of this Premier League campaign. We return to Stamford Bridge, where we will be hosting a huge Wolves team who will be very eager to start off their Premier League campaign with 3 points. It's an opportunity for the fans to see two new debuts in the form of Moussa Diaby and Fikayo Tomori back in Chelsea colours, as it's time to kick off a brand new season. Tomori will take his first touch, and it's a nice pass into Fofana. He will be desperate to do better this time round in a Chelsea shirt than he did the last time, as we just give the ball away cheaply here, and that is not the start we're after. It's into Kuna, and Kuna has the pace to try and drive away from Fofana, who's desperately trying to track back, and in the end it's an easy save for Costa. Reece James into Diaby for his first touch, and with his first touch he goes and gives the ball away as Kuna now challenging Tomori, and that is a fabulous challenge from Tomori back in a Chelsea shirt. And he brings the ball clear into the path of Caicedo, who tries to play it down the line. It's a poor one, and we give it away cheaply again. Diaby looking for an option in field, does find an option. Enzo Fernandez, he gives the ball away. Wolves are pressing so far, and so far out of the two teams, they look the more likely to score here as we give away a foul in a dangerous position. And it looks like it's going to be Guedes who's going to step up for Wolves. He has the opportunity to try and put this one into the back of the net. Will he go over the wall? Fakes it into Sarabia, who strikes, sends it wide. Reece James, at the moment, we can't seem to get out of our own half here as this Wolves press is relentless, and we don't seem to have the composure and the calmness to do anything about it. And yet again, we've given the ball away cheaply. And yet again, Wolves can come clear with Hwang being chased down by Tomori. He can't do enough to stop the ball from coming in. Kuna with a diving head. And it's easy in the end for Costa, but we are making a real problem for ourselves here in the opening 25 minutes. Sancho to the overlapping run of Ben Chilwell down the left-hand side. This is the first time we've really been able to break the Wolves' press. Into Nkunku, nice ball into Diaby. Diaby to strike, and on his debut, he strikes us into the lead. Well, my word, we've done absolutely nothing all game. And just like that, the new signing Diaby steps up when I needed him to. A beautiful, incisive counter-attack led by Ben Chilwell. Lovely pass round the corner from Nkunku, and that is what you pay the big bucks for. A fabulous finish from Moussa Diaby on his debut in front of the Chelsea faithful, gave the goalkeeper no chance, and he gives us a 1-0 lead here at Stamford Bridge. It's going to be a Wolves free kick once again in my half. Wolves have responded well here, floated into the box, looking for Hwang. It's a good save from Costa, and Sarabia gets on the loose ball and fires Wolves back on level terms. Well, it's just so frustrating, we completely fell asleep. Diogo Costa tried his best, but his palm just wasn't strong enough, and Reece James fell asleep at the back. And in the end, it's easy for Sarabia to get on the loose ball. Wolves back on level terms. It's 1-1. Guedes into Hwang. This has been such a poor half from Chelsea here. And where on earth was Tomori going? All over the place. Back across to Guedes. And he absolutely balloons that one over the bar. Reece James bursting down the right-hand side. Cuts inside for Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez, what a fabulous ball into the path of Ben Chilwell. He cuts it back. Looking for Nkunku. Nkunku to strike. in the end, it's easy for the goalkeeper. Guedes, end-to-end stuff here in the first half at Stamford Bridge as Caicedo wins the ball back high into Sancho. He looks for the overlapping run of Ben Chilwell. Everything is coming down this left-hand side for us so far in this half. Floats it back in, looking for Diaby. Headed away well by Malacia. Gunnar bursting down the right-hand side, trying to go past Caicedo. Caicedo, though, does come back across. And we were distinctly average in the first 45 minutes of this brand new Premier League campaign, and we've got to hope that we do better so far this time round as Sancho releases Caicedo down the left-hand side, and it's been a much better start here in this second half. Tried to float it across. That is exactly what you would expect from a central defensive midfielder, and it ends up going away for a Wolves goal kick. Rabia into Guedes, nice pass into Cunha, could have held up by Fofana, good defending. Now it's Sancho who's come deep trying to collect the ball. All of my attacking players have been relatively quiet so far in this game, but Reece James is now released down this right-hand side. Going to try and see if he can find a ball forward. It is so poor. We give it away cheaply yet again, but this time it's Oyhan Sanset, who I've literally heard nothing from all game so far. That is a wonderful ball into the path of Caicedo. Sancho now has it. Releases Nkunku. And now Nkunku has the pace to drive into the box. What a save from the goalkeeper. And it will be that man Nkunku who will take the resulting corner. He fires it in, looking for the head of Moussa Diaby. Doesn't find it. Headed away easily by the Wolves defence. And they go again. Guedes being held up well there by Fofana. And Fofana now can release Diaby down the right-hand side. Diaby cuts inside. Lovely stuff from the Frenchman. Cuts it back. Looking for Baumgartner on as a sub. What a save again. Things are starting to ramp up a notch here at Stamford Bridge as we go in desperate search of a winner. It's a ball into Enzo Fernandez. How has he put that one wide? Caicedo into Mudryk on as a substitute. Mudryk tries to go inside. Does go inside. Finds Nkunku. Nkunku across into Baumgartner. Into an empty net. And we do regain the lead. Well, the Chelsea fans go crazy. It was a long time coming. We've been much better in this second half. And Christopher Nkunku gets his second assist of the game. A fabulously unselfish performance from the young man as he passed it across to the substitute Baumgartner, who just passed it into an empty net and celebrates in front of the Chelsea fans. It's 2-1. Malacia down the left-hand side. Nice little dink over. Wesley Fofana with a good interception here. They can try and bring the ball out of defence. It's Maatsen again on as a substitute into the path of Mudryk, and that is a wonderful touch to get away from the defender, and he just tries to pass it past Nelson Semedo, and he does just that. Now into the box, looking for the ball into Diaby. What a fabulous goal. Moussa Diaby. What a second goal to score, and what a way to put the icing on the cake of a fabulous Chelsea debut. And it's a fabulous way to end this game and to see us home with the 3 points. A wonderful piece of play from Mudryk to just get away from the defender, and then a beautiful ball into the box, and look at that for a first time volley. Pick your spot. Thank you very much. Into the bottom right hand corner. And that is absolutely beautiful. It's 3-1 here at Stamford Bridge. And surely now it's game over. And it turns out that was that. The final attack of the game. The Wolves players can't believe it after such a positive first half. What on earth happened in the second for them? But I don't care, and that man won't care either. 2 attempts, 2 goals. What a fabulous way to introduce yourself to the Chelsea faithful. As at full time here it finishes Chelsea 3, Wolves 1. And there can be no doubt that this man Moussa Diaby was in superb form. 2 goals and an 8.7 rating to mark a fabulous debut. And he is already repaying the faith that I've showed him, and already showing why he was worth over £93 million. We go straight to the top of the table after our very first game, and that is exactly where we are going to be hoping to finish come the end of the season. But with game number 2 up next, away from home at a wet and windy Emirates, we already have a potential title clash just 2 games into the season. It is a mammoth game up next. It is Arsenal against Chelsea, and it's a game that I am making just 1 change to my starting 11. Hot off the heels of a great substitute appearance and hot off the heels of a fabulous goal against Wolves, Baumgartner replaces the very quiet Oyhan Sanset into my starting 11, and he will hope to stake a claim for the rest of the season to try and replace him permanently. Reece James tries to burst down this right-hand side, and he does just that into Nkunku. Lovely reverse ball into Diaby, and just to start, we are absolutely on fire here. Diaby tried to play it across, and the Arsenal defence all over the shot, but eventually Ramsdale just manages to hack it clear. Reece James into Diaby again, heavily involved yet again from the Frenchman. Enzo Fernandez to fire it across, straight into the arms of Ramsdale, though that was a poor one. Saka, lovely pass into Gary Jesus, cuts it back into the path of Odegaard. And Arsenal now looking to stretch their legs, looking to try and get ahead here early doors inside this first half. Gabby Jesus, nice one-touch passing between him and Thomas Partey out to Saka. Lovely, beautiful challenge from Ben Chilwell, his English compatriot. And now we can try and burst forward with another Englishman in Sancho. Sancho tried to go past Timber, couldn't. Arsenal now have an end-to-end stuff here at the Emirates inside the opening 20 minutes. It's Gabby Jesus bursting forward, strikes from distance, good save. Odegaard now will take the resulting corner. It did look like he was going to go short, but faked it. Gabby Jesus, with an overhead kick, and eventually it was Tomori who managed to get the ball clear. Didn't manage to get it very far though. The former Chelsea man Jorginho won it up high. Enzo Fernandez with a fabulous challenge though, and now we can try and hit them on the counter-attack. My word, I'm losing my breath here trying to keep up to date with this action as it is end-to-end here. Ben Chilwell drives past the right back, bursts into the box, cuts it back. What a brilliant interception from Savage, and now Arsenal can burst clear. Trossard, lovely ball into the path of Saka down this right-hand side. Saka tries to go inside, instead only meets the feet of Caicedo, and now he can try and bring it forward into Christopher Nkunku. Nkunku's going to try and release Baumgartner down the centre, instead finds Sancho. He finds Baumgartner into the box. What a brilliant interception there from Timber. Saka for Arsenal. Nice pass into Odegaard. Gabby Jesus has it, knocks it past Fofana like he's not even there, and he's got the pace to drive into our penalty area. Tomori comes across. Tomori with a brilliant challenge, and that is exactly why I brought him back to Stamford Bridge. Diogo Costa. Oh, that's a bit of a dangerous pass, and he gives it away really cheaply there, and Trossard picks this one up. Goes infield, looking for Thomas Partey in an advanced position. Enzo Fernandez, though, with a brilliant piece of defending. And now Reece James into Diaby. And look at this for Diaby now. He can try and burst forward here. He's got acres of space to run into. And look at the pace of the Frenchman. The problem is he's so quick, no one else can keep up with him. Puts it into the box. Again, Timber is in the right place at the right time to intercept. Odegaard into Saka. My word, this is a ferocious first half. It's a poor ball, though. Tomori, though, poor defending from him, and he gives it away. Saka has it back. Turns, Chilwell, it's a ding-dong battle down this right-hand side as the two of them collide, and eventually the Chelsea man manages to bring the ball forward in Caicedo as the referee blows for half-time to give me a much-needed breather. Ramsdale with the quick feet, and instead of the short pass, absolutely welts it downfield. And now we pick the ball up high here. Ben Chilwell into Sancho. Sancho into Diaby. Diaby looks for the overlapping run of Reece James. Reece James now going to try and burst into the box. Burst round the left back. It's a corner here. And it's one that Sancho will take. It's our first proper attack of the game. Into the head of Nkunku. Surely it's up for another corner. And it will be Sancho to again take this second corner of this half. Fires it in, looking for the head again of Nkunku. This time it comes to Fofana. What a save from Ramsdale. Saka to bring the ball out of defence for Arsenal. Turning, weaving away from the Chelsea challenges. Now Odegaard gives it back to him, and instead he ends up giving it to Tomori, and he can release Sancho down this left-hand side. Sancho now into Nkunku, takes it onto his left and strikes. What a save again from Ramsdale. Sancho yet again will take another corner. This time he fires it, looking for the head of Enzo Fernandez. It's headed away by the Arsenal defence. Back out to Sancho though. A second bite of the cherry back into the box. Headed away by the best defender on the pitch in Urian Timber for Arsenal. He's been absolutely everywhere for them. A rock at the back. Unfortunately, if they did not have him, perhaps we would have scored earlier, but it's now Declan Rice to bring the ball out of defence, but he's getting all caught up here. Eventually just managed to wriggle away from several Chelsea challenges. Enzo Fernandez, though, only out as far as Odegaard. Now Gabby Jesus into Zinchenko, who finds himself in an advanced position. Eventually Tomori manages to scuttle away from him and bring the ball away safely. It's Odegaard who's dropped deep. Lovely pass down the line into Alexander-Arnold. Fofana tries to come across, doesn't do well enough, though. Into the back post. What a save from Diogo Costa. Malo Gusto looks for Diaby. Again, end-to-end stuff here. Either of these two teams could end up getting the winner here as Baumgartner plays a lovely reverse ball into Diaby. And now Diaby has got acres of space to go into the box. Diaby on his left. Oh, he was too selfish. I could have passed it. I didn't. I looked for a goal. I saw his name up in lights, and he hit it straight at Ramsdale. And in the end, it's a massive opportunity that goes begging as Arsenal now try and bring the ball forward with Trossard. He gets held up, looks for Zinchenko. Good challenge in the end from Malo Gusto. But Diaby will be wondering what if. But he does have another opportunity now to try and burst forward yet again. And yet again, he's got the pace to drive into the box. And yet again, he strikes over the bar this time. Fofana with the head. Down to Sancho. This will be the last attack of the game. Urian Timber was there yet again for Arsenal as the referee blows for full time. Well, I think both sets of fans and players will be wondering what if. Both teams had opportunities to win the game, but I have to admit, I think it will be the Chelsea players who will be the more disappointed out of the two. Full time here at the Emirates, it finishes Arsenal 0, Chelsea 0. And as I walk away, I'm kind of scratching my head wondering how on earth we didn't secure the 3 points. Perhaps if it wasn't for the heroics of the likes of Ramsdale and Yuri and Timber, we would have walked away with the win. But it's got to be this man, Moussa Diaby, who will walk away the most disappointed. He had 2 crucial opportunities at the last 5 minutes of the game to seal Arsenal's fate and to give us a precious 3 points. But he just didn't have the calmness and composure needed in front of goal. I thought he would have, having got 2 goals in his first game, but perhaps the occasion got to him, and it's one he'll have to learn from as the season progresses. It's the first clean sheet of the season for this man, Fikayo Tomori, and after a bit of a shaky start, he did look fairly decent against our Premier League rivals Arsenal. A 7.15 rating overall in his first 2 games, and he will be looking to build on a solid foundation at the heart of our defence. It looks like morale is positive though, with Baumgartner in particular delighted to get the opportunity to play today against Arsenal. And why wouldn't morale be high, as after 2 games we already sit in 3rd place, the exact same position we were last season, but we are looking confident that perhaps we can go one step further this year round. But as we return to Stamford Bridge for what is going to be our 3rd and final game of this brand new episode, we are greeted by another arch rival in London. This time, it's another North London club, but it is the white side of North London, as Tottenham Hotspur Football Club go to Stamford Bridge in search of 3 points. But it's a 3 points we will be desperately keen not to give them, and a 3 points we'll be desperate to add to our own tally. As you can see, I've stuck to the same starting 11 that started against Arsenal, with the likes of Baumgartner looking to put in another impressive performance, and the likes of Moussa Diaby looking to put those 2 big chances behind him and hopefully get back on the score sheet here at Stamford Bridge. Heung-min Son though bursts down the right hand side here, and he cuts inside against Tomori into the edge of the box. It's Fofana who puts a block in. Richarlison, what a save from Costa. Unfortunately enough for me, the linesman blows for offside, as it's been a lightning start for Spurs there. Richarlison an absolute mile offside, and it's a bit of a let-off there, as it was a really cheap opportunity to give Spurs so early on in the game. Reece James to bring it forward down the right-hand side. I'm going to try and dink this one over into the path of Nkunku. Headed down though, but Nuno Mendes for Tottenham brings the ball out to Heung-min Son, and now Richarlison leading the line for the Lily Whites to bring it down the left-hand side. Looks to go one-on-one with Tomori. Tomori standing strong though, beautiful defending from the Englishman. And now into Christopher Nkunku, who's come deep. Christopher Nkunku yet to get on the score sheet so far this season. He will be desperate to change that here today, but instead it's Sancho who finds himself central. He cuts it back though, looking for Diaby. Nice stuff though. The Frenchman looking to try and get it onto his left foot. Can't quite find the angle to cut it back, and instead ends up giving the ball away really cheaply to Bentancur. Højbjerg for Spurs. Into Mickey van der Ven. He brings the ball out of defence with aplomb and bursts past 2 of my attackers into Richarlison. Richarlison trying to do the dance around my defence, but Reece James comes to our rescue. And now Baumgartner surely is going to try and look to release Moussa Diaby. I do look to try and release him right over the top. It's a brilliant ball into the path of Nkunku. David Garcia read that one brilliantly, and I thought he was going to be in there. Caicedo trying to wriggle around several Tottenham players, and he does just that. Enzo Fernandez now out to Reece James, cuts it back into Nkunku, looks to strike. Good interception and block from Mickey van der Ven. Basuma for Spurs to bring this one out of midfield and plays a lovely pass down the left-hand side into the path of Heung-min Son, who bursts past Reece James, instead cuts it back into Richarlison. He goes past my defence, and Bentancur just drifts past Tomori. What on earth was he doing? And he puts it wide. It's a huge opportunity for Bentancur to score there, and Diogo Costa knows how important that one was. My word, how on earth did Spurs not put themselves in the lead, as Son throws it back into the box, headed away by Tomori, who'll be desperate to put his mistake to rest. Kulusevski picks it up on the edge of the box, tries to go past 2 of my players, does go past 2 of my players, still has it, strikes from distance, sends it wide. Nuno Mendes for Spurs, lovely pass into the path of Heung-min Son, and he bursts past Reece James, but Tomori comes across with a brilliant challenge, and he releases Enzo Fernandez, who looks for Christopher Nkunku, who's cutting a lonesome figure up front here, but he plays a wonderful pass back into the path of Enzo Fernandez, who strikes from the edge of the box, strikes it way wide. Moussa Diaby inside for Baumgartner. He tries to get away from Nuno Mendes, does get away from Nuno Mendes, cuts it back inside, looking for Nkunku, who strikes with his right. Nuno Mendes is there again in the right place at the right time. Into Reece James, into Enzo Fernandez. Fernandez looking for Diaby, instead gives the ball away. Pedro Porro can bring this one out of defence as the referee blows for half-time. Into Pedro Porro, nice challenge from Jadon Sancho, keeps the ball alive but ends up giving it away to Bentancur. Højbjerg will pick this one up, back to Kulusevski, who bursts down this right-hand side, looks to go past Ben Chilwell. Can he try and find a ball in? He can, but it's headed away by Fofana, only out as far as the Tottenham strikers. Into Basuma. Basuma, though, challenged again by Fofana. Fofana, who's a wall at the back for us so far in this game. He releases Baumgartner, and Baumgartner into Christopher and Nkunku releases Sancho, and now he can drive down this left-hand side. He's got acres of space to run into here, but no one in the box to support him. Instead, he cuts it back onto his right, strikes. Brilliant interception from David Garcia as it goes out for a Chelsea corner. And it's one that Diaby will take, and I'm going to try and throw this one into the penalty spot. I do, looking for the header for Fofana, who drags it wide. Caicedo into Sancho. Sancho looks for Diaby. Diaby cut it in on his left, looked to strike. What a brilliant challenge from Nuno Mendes to cut that one down. Gusto now on as a substitute, tries to shift it onto his right, instead shifts it past Nuno Mendes into Diaby again. Diaby to strike again with his left. And Garcia again with another interception. He has been a wall at the back for Spurs today. Into Tchouaméni, who finds himself plying his trade at Tottenham. What an unlikely transfer that is. And he finds Højbjerg. Højbjerg into a Kulusevski, who finds himself central and now drives past the heart of my midfield. Fofana again is in the way. Into Bentancur. Nice little flick round the corner into Lukaku. Tchouaméni in. What a strike. What a goal. Tottenham take the lead. And of course it has to be the former Chelsea man, Romelu Lukaku, who has a hand in the build-up. The Belgian gets the assist, but the plaudits will go to the young Frenchman Tchouaméni. It was a lovely finish as he just ghosted into my penalty box. Unaware were my defenders, and unaware was Diogo Costa as he looks to the skies. It's Tottenham 1, Chelsea 0. Caicedo now to bring the ball out of midfield. We've got less than 10 minutes here to try and find a way back into this game. Nicholas Jackson on as a substitute. Tries to bring the ball forward. Finds Gusto, who finds himself offside. Tchouaméni for Spurs. Drives past two of my players in midfield. It's been a wonderful performance from him so far in this game. But Sancho now will pick it up on the left-hand side and tries to go past Pedro Porro. He does go past Pedro Porro. Into Nicholas Jackson. Jackson into Baumgartner. Baumgartner into Diaby. Diaby to strike. David Garcia is there again. It will be Sancho who will take the resulting corner. He's going to try and fire this one in. It's a good ball in, looking for the head of one of my defenders. Only out as far as Baumgartner though. He will try and fire it back into Sancho. Sancho cuts in for Moussa Diaby, who drives into the box, cuts it back. It's Ben Davies this time. Every single Spurs defender just seems to be in the right place at the right time. But Nicholas Jackson wins the ball back up high up the pitch. Looks for Sancho. Sancho into Caicedo. Caicedo to strike. Again, the Spurs players in the right place. Nicholas Jackson into Sancho. We keep the ball alive. Back into Diaby, who puts it wide. The Spurs players celebrate as that ends up being the final attack of the game. Romelu Lukaku at the height of the celebrations and in the midst of the goal that man Tchouaméni was able to score to separate the two teams. It's a frustrating day at Stamford Bridge as it ends Chelsea 0, Spurs 1. Well, it's a really tough one to take as I actually thought we were the better team overall and at least deserved a point. But the problem is it's games like this that get settled by really fine margins, and unfortunately it just happened to be a margin that was on Tottenham's side this time. It's hard to take, but we just could not take advantage of the opportunities we created. And one man who I'm sure will be more frustrated than anyone else will be that man, Christopher Nkunku. So far it's 3 games and so far it's no goals. He does have 2 assists, but that is not what the Frenchman wants. He's gone from our top goal scorer this season to not scoring in his first 3 games of the new Premier League campaign, and he will be hoping to try and arrest his form for the rest of the season. And with that frustrating loss, it drags us all the way down to 9th place in the Premier League table. We've gone from top spot to 3rd and now all the way down to 9th. It just goes to show this early on what a big impact such bad results have on us. But even more importantly, Spurs drag themselves into the top 3. It is an all-London top 3 of West Ham, Arsenal and Spurs, and we have got to make sure that we are not the only London club that is left behind. That is where we are going to end the episode today though. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.